All right, guys, welcome back. King Z and Winterwolf here. We're going to do a spoiler-free review of Dune Part 2, because even though we're both repping boomer status, we did just see this in like I've seen it like 5 hours ago, and King Z saw it yesterday. We should be able to accomplish this. So let's just jump right into it. I'm going to skip right to the part where I say, how blown away were you?
I think this was the perfect sequel. Not even sequel, I mean, it's a continuation. It's not a sequel, but it was great. You did tell that there was a straight flow from one movie to the next. It didn't look like they took any time off to, like, you know, they aged or anything like that. This movie was great. I think they hit all the talking points you need to hit to make the book into a movie. And yes, I think it was fantastic. I think all the hype videos out there for it are spot on. I think all the good reviews are spot on. Now, it's not what you're going to think going into it. Yeah, I had going, you know, I went in there thinking one thing, it was another thing, but it still delivered. That's the best part about it. I went in with one expectation, got a whole different expectation, and it was beautiful.
I'm going to follow that right up and say, I said this to you earlier when we were just talking, like on the phone, like regular folk. I miss movies like this because, believe it or not, guys, there used to just be good movies like this almost on the regular. Like, this wasn't it. This was just how movies were. Like, and then we had movies that were even better, like the all-time greats. But movies just used to feel like this. And the example I gave to King Z earlier, we were talking, this was the first thing that popped to mind, was the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like, when everybody's on their A game and the writing's good and the production values are good and it's one director that has a unique artistic vision, you get a slamming product. That's just how it is, and it used to be more often than not, that's how it was. You know what I mean? If you showed up to any Steven Spielberg film, there was a vibe, there was a tone to it, and it just felt like that. If you went into a Spike Lee movie or a Tarantino movie, there was a vibe, there was a tone, and they all felt the same because it was one guy or one gal, depending on, whatever. Go find your female director that you enjoy. And it was just tonally the same, so you knew what you were getting into, and there wasn't anything that came out of left field to have you be like, oh, there goes my expectations. They were subverted. I thought I was getting a murder mystery, but I got a teen rom-com or some bullshit. Like, no. Like, the team on this movie cared about what they did. They obviously put a lot into it, and the return on their investment is going to be fan gratitude, fan appreciation, box office success. That was a lot harder than it sounded. And all the accolades that go along with it. And you know what? When this gets snubbed at next year's Oscars, I'm just going to be like, and what? Because it's going to get snubbed because it's sci-fi and they don't care about that kind of stuff. But Chalamet's performance, we're going to talk about that for sure, because we're talking about that scene. That's happening.
Dude, I never thought
he earned it. Like, Bardem earned it. Yeah, go ahead. I know what you're saying.
Going into this, I wasn't big on the guy. I really didn't watch anything he was in. He was in a lot of like dramas, but man, did he come in this part too? Like, you saw growth in his acting ability. Like, you saw him go from you saw the growth of the character going from a scared boy to what he had to become.
I mean, what did I tell you on the phone when we were talking about it? I said the Willy Wonka jokes, done. Like, I'm good. I'm out.
Nope.
He's who he is. That's it. Got some game.
And
good.
And then the other big surprise, I didn't know he was in it. Like, I didn't look at the cast listing or anything going into this movie. I wanted to be completely just drawn into the characters. But the guy who played Elvis, who's in Masters of Air, that guy did a fantastic Austin Butler. That guy did a fantastic job as the Harkonnen. And like, seeing him in Master of Air and like the Elvis movie, like where he got so deep into the role, it changed the way he talks. Like, this guy's like pure method, and like he embraces the role. Like, I mean, we might be looking at our next Christian Bale type actor in him. Because I think
just diving all the way pounds for like the machinist,
stuff like that. Like,
I can see
this guy's like committed to the roles that he signs up for, and like, we need more actors like that in Hollywood. We need more like him.
Well, that's what I mean. We would talk about him for like another second and then keep moving. Like, I want more actors like that get into a character and become that. I don't want to go see more movies where it's dude playing himself. Yeah. Girl playing herself. Like that works for some people when it's like a comic vibe and like you want to see more of that, but like in this kind of stuff, no.
Other than Psycho,
No. You have
Vince
to be
Vaughn
the
is
Harkonnen.
always Vince Vaughn. The Rock is always The Rock.
Perfect.
Besides in
Boom.
Central Intelligence, I think Central Intelligence is one of the best ones. That one and Get Shorty, not Get Shorty, B Tool.
Yeah.
He was in B Tool.
The Vince Vaughn ones is a perfect, or Adam Sandler. Perfect takes on the point we're trying to make. He's just literally himself in everything except like three things. You know what I mean?
Punch Drunk Love, Hustle, and Rain on Me.
Rain over me. Yeah, Rain over me. Yep. Yep. Exactly my point. But like performances all around in the movie, fantastic. I love the. I should have owed her the respect to get her name. Lady Jessica again, who becomes I guess is it a spoiler? Who she becomes? I don't want to say it out loud. Or what she becomes. The actress that plays Lady Jessica. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, Lady Jessica, okay. Paul's mother.
Fantastic. Because when we get back to them in this movie, their dynamic has changed. Like there's a little more antagonism now as he's grown in his role and she's grown in her role, which we're gonna leave spoiler free. There's some it borders on hostility, and I think it gets there at one point. I would call it hostility.
Yeah.
But it's changed, and her performance is solid in that spot.
I think it was mostly hostile because he doesn't want to take that next step into who he needs to become.
Right.
She's taking her step towards who she has to become to make what the future that's supposed to happen. But he's not ready to take that step.
And he knows, because he knows he's under the impression at the beginning that it's all propaganda BS. And one of the first lines we see him say to her is, "Yeah, that propaganda fairy tale you spread down here sure is spreading." And when he said that, I was like, oh damn, that's different than part one. So we know there's not only been a time lapse, there's some emotional distance that's come up in between the two of them. Let's talk about Zendaya and Javier Bardem being in their roles as the the high profile Fremen that what's his face is involved with there. Not Timothy Chalamet. I get not Willy Wonka. Not Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Zendaya, I could take her or leave her in this. She's okay. She does what she's supposed to do. But I don't think there's anything particularly captivating about her performance, and I don't think the chemistry is 100% there between her and Chalamet. What do you think about that? Like serviceable, but not. I'm not. My heart doesn't go out to them as the starstruck.
I think she captured who she needed to be. I did like her story arc of being against him, with him, train him and everything, and then him, and then how it ends up.
Recurring themes. I think there's recurring themes about relationships going about that.
And you want to talk about setup and payoff, talking from part 1 to part 2. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we do our deeper dive. And that's right, we're going to be doing a deeper dive video where we're going to put both movies together and go further into the lore of Dune, and also bring in a little bit of the 1984 movie in that. So watch for that movie, that video to drop. And to do that, make sure you hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss when we drop our deep dive into Dune.
Oh, good plug to throw that in there right now. Dude, tell me about the Javier Bardem character, because I see a lot of review videos out there talking about somebody should nominate this guy for an Oscar in that role. I thought he was banging. I thought it worked.
Oh, yeah. He
sold me on equal parts. Like, he's genuine. He's authentic. He is a bit of a fanatic, but it's a man with faith. He just believes that he's right. He's everything that gets put in front of him, all the evidence is there.
Yep.
That, like, his convictions were proven accurate, and well worth the suffering that he put in. What did you think of him and just the performance in part 2 specifically?
I think they wrote him as a perfect disciple. As, say, a disciple of Jesus back when Jesus walked. Like, when they started seeing, like, all the signs and all the prophecies that were coming true around this one man. And that's what he was going through. He had that disciple moment. And even though Paul himself thought it was, mumbo jumbo, and it was something that was led by the Ben Gesserets that to like feed this, and then they keep trying, which you find out later that they're trying to build this super character that Paul is stepping into. I think he's a man who's seeing his faith and his prophecy of a free world come true before his eyes, and yeah, he completely captures it.
I mean, he got misty-eyed at a couple of different points, including the big scene that we are going to talk about.
Don't waste your water on not even on the dead.
It was so good. It was so good, dude. Every time he had something to say, I listened a little bit more. I mean, like, I perked up a little bit more because I thought everything he said was worthwhile. And the one moment of comedy in the movie, you can even call it that, is when he's training Paul to do a specific task, and he's gonna call out a specific thing, and like as the visuals of the thing kind of go through, I'm trying hard not to spoil it. Like he's like, whoa, not that big, and it was like that was the only Marvel-esque kind of levity. You know what I'm talking about, right? There was a certain riding scene. Everybody's seen it in the trailer.
But
like, you know, they set him up for that. He's like, whoa, not that big. Slow.
But also,
that
cool. Also fulfills one of the prophecies, because he has to ride a.
Yeah, he shall ride. Yeah.
And it was it's supposed to be a certain age. It's supposed to be a certain age of worm, which means bigger.
Right. Grandfather. Yeah. I thought that was pretty good, dude. Let's, in keeping with our spoiler-free review and keeping things brief, let's just talk about that one big scene that we agreed is pretty much the badass thing that goes down the council room scene. Paint me the picture. How does that scene come up?
So this scene is the I would say the definitely call to action to build towards the climax in the end of the movie, where you have Paul who steps into his role literally.
Takes the stairs right up on it.
Yeah, and his performance, I think this is what really nailed him down, is like this could be one of the next big actors that we see, that who really, him and the guy who plays the nephew, the other nephew of Baron Harkonnen.
Fade Rotha.
Yeah.
That's Austin Butler, Masters of the Air. Also good.
Them two, like, I believe this is going to be their calling card. Like, look at what they did here. This is why we need to hire these actors. Because this scene is just powerful. It's meaningful. And it's just, like, the whole scene that set up before, where he's there with his ring, and he's like, which, again, callback, is like, I found my way. So...
Then I got to talk a little bit about that scene specifically. I want to just throw out the example that we had on the phone, where it's like it's Paul, and he enters the council room, and they set this up too earlier, where it's like you have to be a tribal leader to address the convention, because they hold Zendaya's character back. They're like, yo, you can't talk here. You're not a leader. Like, you know what you have to do, and she doesn't do it. And to become the leader of your tribe, you got to kill the guy that's the leader of the tribe. Like, it's a trial by combat society in that regard. So Paul walks up in the room in the middle of these hundreds of people, and there are 15 leaders or however many there were, walks right up on the stage, and they're like, yeah, no, you can't do that unless you're the leader. And Javier Bardem's the leader of his tribe. He goes, no, I can do it right now. I'm weak. Now's the time. Take over. We need you. And Paul's like, why on God's green earth would I do that?
Why would I kill the best among us?
Right. So he's already set a new precedent, right? He goes up on that stage and talks so much crap to the entire assembly about, like, in your nightmares, you hope I'm the one that can deliver us, to paradise and this and that. And then he starts, because he's all hopped up on the spice now and his mind's open, he starts calling out all their various memories and fears, and proving that he's not full of crap, that it's not an act. You know what I mean? And as he's doing this, as his entrance in there, I said to you, it reminded me of a better version of Force Awakens, where Kylo Ren comes down off the shuttle after they basically held up the camp where R2 and Oscar Isaac were hiding at the very beginning of Force Awakens, and Kylo Ren comes storming down the ramp, and he looks like Ghostface, but not from Scream, but like the goofy version, Scary Movie. And it's like they wanted you to think he was like incumbent Vader, but he's not.
Yeah.
Never worked. This kid in this movie, walking up in there with nothing more than the truth. He's not choking anybody. You know what I mean? He didn't catch a dagger that was thrown at him without looking or anything.
He didn't use the command. He didn't use the voice.
Nope. And that's the other important part too. There was no mind trick. He just told them, and that was it.
Yep.
That's it. Army acquired. Achievement unlocked.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
The scene was extremely powerful. It drove you where you wanted to be, and like it was fantastic. Just fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know how much more we can gush about individual scenes without ruining how some of this stuff goes down at the end with the Emperor, the Baron. There's some good scenes there with Fade. There's some good stuff there.
One of the things I want to talk about, like in the beginning, like I said, I went into this movie with one expectation, and it ended up with another, and it was a great swerve, which also highlights how bad the 1984 movie actually was with pacing and storytelling. Because I read the book when I was younger, or had it read to me by my brother, And then I also saw the movie, and when you're younger, you know, visual is more stimulating, you remember it more. And I had the stories jumbled in my head, and I thought things were going to happen that didn't happen and the reason why is because they happened in that movie. And like, which was completely wrong. Like certain sonic weapons that were never used, Paul's sister actually being like in child form, like.
Oh, wow, that's a big one. That's a big department.
Like she was actually born and actually used. She was like full Bene Gesserit being born, like had the mind control and everything going.
Yeah.
And then the power of the voice, where he used it as a weapon. That's what killed the nephew, Faye.
Yeah. In the
84 one.
We're not spoiling anything here about any of these.
Yeah, this is the 1984 movie. But none of that stuff is actually true from the book or the new movie. So I would go see the new movie to see how more accurate this director put it towards the source material, and that's why it's so much better.
Yeah, dude. Agreed, man. I think I don't have... If there's any nitpicks to be made with this, I mean, I don't know. I can't find anything worth like complaining about, and that's easy for us usually.
I would say my one nitpick would be the performance of Christopher Walken. I think he was just a little off.
He was stony, you know what I mean? Like what was he? He wasn't supposed to be Christopher Walken. See, that's another guy that like he always plays himself in stuff, and he didn't here, and I was down for that, but I mean there wasn't enough there. I do have a nitpick. It was the other thing we talked about with just where it ended. I didn't get the point of the I don't want to say specifically for spoiler reasons, but it should have ended 2 minutes prior to that with that one line, the Holy War is coming, and that boom credits, and that's like that would have been it. But there's 60 seconds too much.
And I think that's because they are building towards a third movie, which will actually be a true sequel. Like this is not a sequel movie. The next one will be a sequel movie because it will be taking on the Children of Dune's book, which was the second book that came out in 1969. And I believe Dune was 1965, and then Children of Dune was 1969.
Or something like that.
So they'll be taking on that book, which actually has a bigger fan following. Like that's the book that everyone, like a lot of people who get into Dune, they swallow the first book to get to the second book, kind of like Erickson. No. Wheel of Time.
Malazan.
Malazan. You suffer through the first two books to get to the third book.
Oh, that's Wheel of Time is the slog in the middle with like 6, 7, and 8 or whatever it is.
7, 8, 9, and 10.
Dude, I'm not reading that shit. Yeah, dude. So why don't we call it here for our spoiler-free review before we get going, and then drop the bomb on everybody. I'll ruin it all for them. We appreciate you guys stopping by for the spoiler-free review of Dune. We're going to do the longer one and get that out hopefully later this week. Also, we're going to try and get the short one out within the next 24 hours. So, Kingsley, get us out of here.
All right. Yeah, we'll be coming a little bit later with the longer review because good news to everybody, I'm going home. Woo-hoo! So no more undisclosed locations. I'll be in my home studio once I get it set up because we moved into a new place there, and I get my studio set up. So once that's set up and running, I'll be coming back from my home station, probably on a permanent basis now. So with that said, if you want to see the new home studio, you want to see our longer reviews, you want to see our videos on other IPs that be coming out, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because when you hit that subscribe button, you're helping us on our drive to 500 as we try to get to 500 subscribers, and we can't do it without your help. And that help is hitting that thumbs up if you did enjoy this, so we get out in the algorithm. YouTube tells us it works. I'm hoping that it does. So you guys help us out. Thank you for coming along on this ride. Thank you for being part of the den. And with that said, it is time for the camera from an undisclosed location for the last time goes black. Oh,